Welcome to HB RV Lifestyle, the podcast. I am the host, the Honey Badger, here to give it to you straight and transparent about the RV business, as well as other things. Soon, I'm going to get one of those drop the microphone moments, similar to Eminem from 8 Mile. So the 8 Mile movie, at the end, Eminem's doing this rap battle. And the last line, he says it with authority, and then he just drops the mic. Boom. Now for me, it's not about frame failure or frame flex, anything like that. But before I go more into it, I want to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the super ugly when it comes to RV YouTubers. Now, during this episode, I'm not going to cuss, so no foul language today. Some of you will be very disappointed. A lot of you are going to be like, yes, 2 episodes in a row. We don't have to go hide the kids. Sorry, I'm in a really good mood. This has been a really good week. But the information I'm about to share, I feel is super important because there's a lot of RV owners that are still traveling around that maybe recently bought their rig in the last 2 or 3 years. There's folks that are going to buy this year at some point or have bought this year. There's folks trying to sell their RVs, obviously. And then there's those folks that, hey, I'm still in my research phase. You know, maybe I'm going to do something in 2 or 3 years. And where do we get the majority of our information? The internet, social media, YouTube. Okay. And there's been a very popular trend over the last 6 years. It's not just COVID, but the last 6 years, since around 2018, becoming a YouTuber has become sort of a career goal for a lot of folks because the ad revenue, when you get to be a bigger channel, you can live off of. Okay, and I'll get more into that as we go along, but it seems like we're at 2 extremes now. Extreme number 1 is the sunshine and rainbows, like everything's perfect, everything's innovative, everything, I've never seen it before. And then there's the Armageddon, clout chasing, bag chasing YouTubers that everything built, every RV that comes out of the factory is all garbage. That's literally, it feels like the super majority of the industry. The RV YouTuber industry. Okay? Now, let me give you some context into this. And first off, I want to say this real quick. I am going to use specific YouTubers as examples in this episode. So you're going to get mad at me. A lot of you are going to get really super pissed at me. I ask 2 things before you email me, send me a direct message to social media, or maybe if you're watching or listening on YouTube instead of Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Amazon. I probably said that twice. iHeart. So if you're not listening on one of those and you're listening on YouTube, you might leave a rude comment. Okay? I ask 2 things from you guys, the listeners, before you do that. Number 1, listen to this entire episode so you get all of the context of what I'm saying. And number 2, give it a day or 2 to soak in before you get upset. Okay? Because my goal is not to attack somebody's personality or attack them personally, but what I do want to do is be very firm about the techniques that both sides use in order to make money. Okay? Now, You guys know I'm not ashamed. I like to make money. I would love if I could do the podcast and the main RV channels, the Spanish, the shorts, the main channel. If I could do it all and make a really good living at it, I would do it full time. And I have no shame in telling you I make money. On my main channel that has almost 12,000 subscribers, lately I get about 100,000 views a month, which pays me about $700 on average. One month I did 900, this month I'm going to do like 500. So my average is about $700 a month. Here on the podcast, I make about $140 a month. If I could get them built up where I make more money, that'd be outstanding. But it wouldn't change what I do. And I'll tell you why a little bit later. Okay? But here's how the YouTube algorithm works. So you guys have a little context in why I'm sharing this. It's just like in politics or finance or anything else. The bigger YouTubers have more money, more funds, more abilities to hire outsiders to do their editing, their thumbnails. They can pay people to do interviews. They have more resources than someone like me. And there's more people like me. I have actually discovered a few other people. They don't have my like honey badger attitude, but they're in the middle. Okay? There's a couple of them out there. But these two specific ones we're talking about come up with titles that are clickable and make a person go, oh, wow, something that's never been made before? Let me click on that. Oh, didn't they build that for the last like 6 years? How is it new? Isn't that the same drawers? Oh, it's just a different color. Oh, they added so instead of a 100-watt panel, they added a 190-watt panel? That's how this goes. And the first words out of these corporate RV dealership YouTubers is always, I've never seen it before. Oh my God, I can't believe they made that incredible change. Finally, somebody who actually understands an RVer. And I'm like, they've been building that for like 10 years, bro. Or ma'am. But again, that hook. So there's 3 things that these YouTubers do way better than me and will always do way better than me. They know how to hook you in the first 30 seconds. They know how to make clickbait titles. And they know how to make a thumbnail, or they have someone paid that does their thumbnails and editing to where it keeps your attention. I don't have any of those things. And a lot of people don't have any of those things. Now I applaud them. The positive part is I applaud them. And I applaud them because both sides, the Armageddon clout chasers and the sunshine and rainbows people that only care about sales and their corporate dealership and their corporate money and all that crap, the two sides are great storytellers. And know how to take something and twist it. Now the good news is there's those little things that I can cover that they don't. And the good news is yes, I get a little uppity. And sometimes I sound downright narcissistic and I sound downright like a jerk. But I give it to you straight no matter how it is. And they'll bash me for it. Both sides will bash me for it, and I'm good with it. Bring it on. Wait until they get a load of me. Now you kind of get an idea. what has occurred, and we're going to start with Armageddon. I want to start with Armageddon in this case. Give you some real good details, okay? I'm going to pick on wingman wisdom for a minute. Let me start the preference of that is when I watch Wingman, okay, he reminds me a lot of one of my uncles. Like, when I listen to him talk, when I watch his mannerisms, he reminds me a lot of my Uncle Steve. My Uncle Steve and I would go to a baseball game. Back then it was mainly the Angels, when they were the California Angels, and just turning to the Anaheim Angels. Yes, I'm aging myself a little bit here. Okay? Which is actually still younger than a lot of the listeners, so I'm probably going to get beat up for that comment. Sorry about that. And yes, that's a real apology. But anyway, when they were the California Angels, and I was 21 years old when they turned to the Anaheim Angels, or I was just past 21 when we went and saw them as the Anaheim Angels. He used to take me to a bar afterward and have a couple beers. And we just sit there and chat. And that's how I kind of view Wingman Wisdom as a person. To me, it seems like he'd just be one of those guys that we go to a ball game and afterward go hit the bar, have a couple beers, throw some darts, maybe shoot some pool. The reality is, though, he's part of the Armageddon side. Clickbait titles, clickbait thumbnails, and a lot of the folks, not every interview, but a lot of the folks he brings on to interview on his show hate Camping World. It's like a big theme. Camping World's the evil. Camping World forces you to this. Camping World forces you to do that. And it's like, does anybody have any context that Camping World is individually ran by every dealer? There are some bad apples. Don't get me wrong. Every corporate dealership type of model has bad apples. But there's no context in there because, again, it's an anti-Camping World type of vibe. I used to, how do I put this? So I used to work for a Camping World. I worked for Camping World in Vacaville, California, which is up by the Sacramento area, okay? Guy named Phil, guy named Ed ran the place. Okay? I think I heard recently Phil retired. And Eddie's now in charge of it. Okay? A well-run dealership. I mean, you have your normal day-to-day problems and challenges of being a corporate industry business, but the reality is it has a good culture. It has good leadership. So not every Camping World is bad. The Camping World in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and if you hear there's sirens in the background, so I apologize, there's been sirens coming in and out. But there's another Camping World in Albuquerque, New Mexico. A really good friend of mine that I've known since my Giant RV days, named Craig, is one of the managers out there, and it's a really well-run, really well-oiled machine. So to come out and say all the time that we don't do it like Camping World, Camping World's a bunch of liars. I mean, that's how that comes off. Then you got Miles RV, which is Myles RV. Seems like a great guy. Good young guy. I think he's in Texas or Oklahoma. Big TikTok. Big YouTube channel. He's on that sunshine and rainbows section of the RV industry. Everything is so innovative. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like this. Oh my God, they just made this major change. It's going to change the entire industry. It's like, bro, like, eat a brownie. I mean, eat a brownie, dude. I'll have what he's having. Nobody's that impressive. No RV manufacturer, no boat manufacturer, no housing manufacturer. Nobody's perfect. No automobile is perfect. So there's an example of two really big extremes. Okay? Let's pick on Liz Amazing for a minute. Okay? Liz Amazing I respect as a business person. I respect her as a storyteller. And I respect her at the fact that it takes a lot of guts to do some of the things she does. But it backfires on her a lot. The downside to Liz is Liz has no idea how good she really could be. I mean, everything is negative, 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 negative. Everything is negative. Everything's a pile of crap. Everything's a pile of garbage. That's her channel. And actually, she made me upset. I think about a week or two ago. I'm not going to go into the details. I'll just basically give you some vague stuff. She brought some people on her channel that I know for certain she did not fully help out. There were other people involved that were helping these people prior. And it made me understand her better. It made me understand that she's a clout chaser. Get mad at me all you want. She's a clout chaser. Because I know specific details about a couple she brought on the channel. And I know for sure, for certain, that she may have been some of a help, but there was another couple out there, fabulous couple out there, that have no YouTube channel, no money, they don't make any money on social media. They're retired full-timers who happen to have an issue themselves, and they've done nothing but help a lot of these people out, including this one couple, to get them a hold of people. That's clout chasing. Now, if she came on and said, between me and credited the other people, I would be more inclined to not say that. And I know you're going to get mad at me, and that's fine. I understand you being mad at me, but just think about it. If I came on this podcast every single day and claimed that I was changing the industry or claimed that I was beating up everybody and there were other people involved and I gave them no credit, you'd call me out on it. There is a couple out there that run a Facebook page called Grand Design Major Issues. Pete and Lisa West. This is a fabulous couple. They have no ulterior motives. They have no desire to make money. But they don't get the credit due on certain things. Why? Because there's clout chasers out there that looking to grow their audience, looking to grow their bank account. Is there something wrong with that? Yes and no. I respect anybody that makes money. As long as you're not selling drugs and killing people, I'm how you make your living is up to you. If you sell clocks, if you sell Bibles, if you go online and you sell photos of your toes, whatever floats your boat, as long as you're feeding yourself, I'm good with it. You'll never hear me complain about somebody that makes money. About their money. But the reality is we need to learn from these type of things. it's better to talk to people that have absolutely nothing to gain and nothing to lose. See, there's a corporate RV dealership YouTuber that is rumored to have gotten a $10 million deal. Okay. I don't know how long ago or any of those details. It was just brought to my attention. Like, this person got $10 million for basically converting to working for a corporation, to representing a corporation. It's a lot of money. And by the way, it does make sense. It's not that far-fetched. Okay? If you do the math of what Mr. Beast's channel is, if you don't know who Mr. Beast is, if you know who Mr. Beast is, it's not that far-fetched, because what his channel is worth compared to what some of these other guys' channels would be worth it just makes sense. And if that's the case, that's a lot of money to lose. So now you're put in a situation where you can't say anything that you normally would if you were just an independent. See how there's two sides to this, guys? This is not me personally attacking people. This is factual information. Okay? I want to read you something. This is off Liz's latest video. Oh, by the way, I want to give Liz a lot of credit. Every time she does one of these videos, she always posts the letters and communications. All we have to do is hit pause and read them. If we hit pause and read them, you actually get a lot of context. Okay? And before I read this letter, real quick, let's go back to the cease and disorder letter. I want to make something perfectly clear. If you listen to her story versus what you read that she puts on the screen, it tells two different stories. Okay, so the cease and disorder. Let's see. I've talked about Lippert. I've talked about frame failure and frame flex a lot. In fact, I've talked about it more than she has. I've talked about a lot of things that have to do with manufacturers, and yet I have never received a cease and disorder letter. So it's not about freedom of speech. It's about an insider that she did not come forward and provide information for. They don't care that she released videos. Just so you know, if you read those letters, it ain't about the videos. It's about what she says in the video. Not what the customers say. Not about the frame failure. Not about frame flex. Not about saying it's a Lippert frame. Not about Lippert components. It's about an insider that if you read the letters, you read the freaking letters, it says the supposed insider that she claims she has doesn't work for Lippert. That's all you have to do is read the letters she put up there for you. And you can read it black and white for yourself. Even the cease and disorder letter. Then I find out, she said she was going to have an attorney look at it. As far as I've been told, as far as I'm aware, she didn't go get an attorney. Which makes me question, did she really have an insider? Now, you could say the same thing about me and my sources, but let's start with reason number one that's harder to say that about me is, number one, I work in the industry. And number two, I wouldn't have presidents and CEOs and executives and high-ranking general managers and people high up in the industry calling me on the phone. That's a fact. So you got to understand the Armageddon side. Let's skip using Liz as an example for a minute. I don't think that's necessary anymore. Let's just say because this applies to all the Armageddon side people. Most of the Armageddon side people, not all of them, but the majority of them, are not technicians in the industry, never have built a coach, never have sold a coach. They're full-time RVers, the majority of them. And YouTube is their primary source of income. Facts. So we have a real conundrum as a lifestyle, as a community, as an industry. We are in a conundrum here. Because it's like, who do you trust? Do you trust the sunshine and rainbows, or do you trust the Armageddon? See, when I would believe more a guy like Greg Carson. If you don't know who Greg Carson is, it's Cruising with the Carsons. I'm going to link his latest video in the description of this episode. So, it doesn't matter. You can be listening on iHeart or Spotify. You can grab the link and watch the video on YouTube, where he talks about lag screws and his contact between Grand Design and Lippert. Guy who's not monetized, never going to be monetized. Now, while I don't see eye to eye with the guy after the conversations I had with him, and I'm still debating whether he even talk to the guy. A lot of people have reached out to me and said I should talk to him. I have a tough time talking to people after I've kind of burned a bridge. But reality is I would believe a guy more like that. But see, hard to take a lot of what he says seriously in some cases, because he's very emotional over what happened to him. But I'd believe more of a guy like him than the two extremes. Big shout out to Pete and Lisa West, really. Big shout out to those two. I really truly believe that they have the right intention of getting people help. Two people that are just trying to do the right thing in their mind. And now there's a Armageddon. I left their Facebook group for several reasons. Okay? Mostly because I didn't want to be a distraction. I thought a lot of what I was providing was a distraction to what their thing is. Okay? Apparently there's an Armageddon type of RV YouTuber in there. I won't name their name. You can name their name in the comments section if you want. I mean, why are you there? You need more stories for your YouTube channel? Plain and simple. There's another one, and I can't remember his name. He's really bad. Every time somebody talks about Lippert, he always says the words, they're going to crash and burn. He's said it for the last 4 or 5 years. He's on Instagram. He's not on YouTube. He's on Instagram and TikTok, and all he does is tell everybody that everything built by Lippert, every component built by Lippert is built to fail within 3 years. Never been in the industry, but yet gets 1 million views per video. So the purpose of this part, in conclusion, to get to the point, is You can't depend on YouTube to give you the real answers. The best thing that you could possibly do is to get it from the customers' YouTube channels. If you're shopping for a toy hauler, a fifth wheel toy hauler, go check out Paving New Paths and their problems with frames. There's several of them out there. There's a guy with a Montana that had his Montana repaired from frame flex and frame failure. Listen to their stories. Listen to what they have to say. Because most of these guys, most of these folks that are the actual customers are living in them, enjoying them. The majority of them use YouTube and social media as a secondary income. It's not their primary source of money. There's a lot of folks out there that are brand ambassadors that are not sunshine and rainbows. Don't get caught up in these corporate RV dealership YouTubers, and don't get caught up in clout chasers. Get caught up in the actual customers that are living it every day. You're going to have a lot of positive and negative. But if all you do is listen to crappy RV, you'll get crapped out. By the way, I love him. I've said before, if he was armed with half the information I have, that man would be deadly in this industry and deadly on YouTube. And for those of you that have been pushing for Liz and I to make a team up, I'm going to tell you right now, after everything that has occurred over the last 3 weeks, plus watching 2 of the videos, plus reading all the communications, watching her burn and nuke bridges that she could be making with industry leaders, I'm trying to make bridges. So I would never partner with her ever. I would never have her on the podcast. I would never have her on the main channel. And by the way, she feels the same way about me. And that's fine. I want to make bridges. I want to have full access to these guys. I don't want puff piece access. I want access where they know that I'm going to come in with some strong questions looking for transparent answers. That's my goal. If I can get the upper echelon of the RV industry to come on the podcast, to come on the main channel, it's nothing but good information for everybody. Whether you take them as to their word or whether you think they're lying, I would leave that up to you. If you think they're just trying to play politics, I would leave that up to you. The more transparent the processes are, the easier it is for people to not worry about the clout chasers or the sunshine and rainbows. Don't join owners groups on Facebook to get opinions. Join general ones. RV Lifestyle is a good one. RV Community is a good one. RV Life is a good one on Facebook. Those 3 I'm a part of. RV Camping for Newbies. Great Facebook group. You got Brinkley owners, you've got Grand Design owners, you've got Forest River, you got Coachman, you got Keystone, you got a whole mix of people. You got people that bought older RVs and revamped them. You've got folks all over the place. But just whatever you do, have the understanding that these are better avenues for you than filling these two sides of the spectrum, feeding their bank accounts. Wow, there's been a lot of sirens. This is not good. Good Lord. Okay, I'm going to read you a letter from an attorney to customers from Liz's last video, because I hit pause. And the attorney writes, "I am terribly sorry you were disappointed. I believe you have been but I believe you have horribly misconstrued how these matters actually work. The only remaining issue for which REV would be responsible is the inverter. Why? Because the generator is not covered under the REV warranty. It is covered by the warranty issued by the manufacturer of the generator, which again is not REV. The couch issue apparently arose from a promise made by the dealership to you, and the dealership is not controlled by REV, nor can the dealership make promises on behalf of REV." Completely valid points. While the inverter may be an issue, REV has not been able to duplicate that issue, and they suspect it may be user error. Be that as it may, there is simply no way I am going to file a lawsuit over a single issue, the inverter, when the manufacturer has been unable to duplicate the issue. Guys, this is an attorney. Attorneys chase money. If they feel there's money to be made, they chase the money. You want to talk about people after the money bags? Lawyers are after the money bags. Okay? That is but one reason we are closing the case. The other reasons are your insistence on continuing to communicate directly with the manufacturer, even though I have asked you not to do so. Now, I agree with that. You don't want to contact them. That's why you have a lawyer. In addition, now you want to bring an apparent advocate. And by the way, that was in quotation marks. They're pretty much calling Liz... Well, I'll let you figure that out for yourself. To assist in this matter, which is perfectly fine, but we are not going to remain involved if you will neither allow us to handle the matter appropriately, or if you continue to go back and forth as to whether you wish to accept REV's final offer. Again, I am terribly sorry if you are disappointed, but the claim is going nowhere, and it is because you will not make a definitive decision on the settlement offer. You will not follow my instructions, and now you want to bring a third party to further complicate the matter. We wish you the best of luck in however you choose to handle the matter going forward, but we will not continue to waste our time on a claim that cannot be resolved. Thank you. So again, another one of those issues where you have an Armageddon level. Everything's bad, everything's horrible, everything's bad, everything's horrible, an inspector said this, and an insider said that. I mean, help me out, guys. I got out of... Before I go into the drop the mic moment, I want to throw this out there. If someone contacts me and they already have an attorney, I'm not getting involved. If someone calls me or contacts me and says, "Hey, we need help," and you tell me you hired an attorney to already start the lemon law process or maybe go after a settlement, if you want my advice on the settlement, I'll give it to you. But I'm not calling the manufacturer. I'm not bringing you on my YouTube channel. Not going to do it. You have an attorney. That's what attorneys are for. If you got a lawyer, that's what lawyers are for. They're to represent you, so you don't have to represent yourself. Now, as far as the drop the mic moment, I am excited. So excited I can barely contain myself. Because when the news breaks, the day this news breaks, I am going to be like a peacock. I'm going to be a male peacock, showing off all my beautiful feathers. And I'm going to say the words, "I told you so," so many times to certain people. And to me, and cut me off if I'm wrong, because this is going to be a selfish thing, it's going to validate this podcast, and it's going to validate my main YouTube channel, and it's going to prove the point I've been making about the two extremes. The industry needs to change the way it looks at content creation. The industry needs critics. While I may not agree and may not like Liz Amazing's style or Wingman Wisdom's style, the industry needs critics. But not to that extreme. We need good storytellers to cover up for some people's weaknesses, like mine. I am weak when it comes to storytelling. I am weak when it comes to editing. I have a lot of weaknesses that I'm trying to work on. We do need her. We do need Liz Amazing. But we don't need the extreme. We need watchdogs. We need critics. We also, on the other side, do need enthusiasts. But to basically make everything out to be practically perfect in every way, like Mary Poppins, is complete baloney and malarkey. And as Forrest Gump would say, that's all I got to say about that. Have a good night.